Rainbow Six Siege is a highly competitive shooter that has been around for over 9 years. And as competitive shooters evolve, so do their cheat manufacturers, with them constantly trying to release new cheats and come up with new ways to bypass the protection set in place by the game devs. So, with the cheating situation being the worst it has ever been, I want to go back in time and cover how the cheats have evolved to become more undetectable and how Ubisoft has attempted to fight back against them. Now, before I can get into this video, I must first make one thing clear. This video is by no means a support of cheaters or cheat manufacturers. Cheaters are the scum of the community, and they are actively ruining this game. I may show gameplay in this video of cheats, but this is by no means glorifying them. Cheating is a serious thing. It is not only against TOS, but they are also a huge security risk to download. So if you're considering cheating, no matter what the reason is, don't. For all of the obvious reasons, I will not be mentioning any cheat developers or cheaters by name in this video. I will not be linking to any of the gameplay uploaded by cheaters as well to avoid promoting this behavior as much as possible. Links to other sources, Siege's TOS, and other important things can be found in the description. Now that we have gotten those disclaimers out of the way, let's go ahead and get into the video. Now, when Siege first came out back in December of 2015, cheats were fairly minimal, obviously since the game just came out. Things like wall hacks, aim block, and cheats you'd expect to see from other FPS games were obviously present. And you might think that cheats like this wouldn't be super prevalent since the game just got released, but cheats like this were pretty widespread, and players would immediately start sharing clips online demonstrating the issue. However, most of the blatant and extreme cheats that we know today hadn't yet been released. But the more expensive clients of this early period would start to see some cheats that would become prevalent as the years went on. One example of this is the fire select cheat, which allowed the cheater to shoot their gun in burst mode or semi-auto as if it was automatic, allowing for a much faster fire rate than what would be possible while normally shooting. Around this time is also when the shield hipfire cheat was introduced, allowing them to have nearly perfect hipfire on their shield while still being able to have the safety of that ballistic shield in front of them. Both of these cheats would become extremely common over time, especially amongst blatant cheaters, and there really wasn't anything you could do about either of them. What didn't help this blatant cheating problem is that Siege at the time didn't permanently ban a cheater when they were detected. They would instead implement a 3-day ban on any account's first offense. Ubisoft obviously had good intentions with this, believing that they should give players a second chance, but this had the consequence of allowing cheaters' accounts to last longer, and it also made players fear a ban for cheating less. Also, BattlEye wasn't fully implemented yet as well, meaning that most bans at the time were manual, which took a lot longer. This resulted in cheating as time went on getting extremely bad, especially since the player count was already really low on launch, making your chances of fighting these blatant cheaters quite high. Ubisoft would update their policy and make a cheater's first ban permanent, which did help, and they would eventually implement BattlEye into the game fully, allowing it to ban players on its own, but these sorts of cheats would become the norm for a while, and cheaters were still able to easily bypass BattlEye within a few weeks of it being added. Now, as the game went on and cheat developers became more crafty, more blatant cheats would become available. Spin bots was one of the earliest examples of this, allowing a cheater to spin in circles and shoot anyone on the map through soft surfaces. They also started implementing speed hacks to go along with this, allowing cheaters to run into spawn and kill everyone within seconds of the round starting. Now, these sort of cheats are nothing new, and they're definitely not exclusive to Siege. Other games have had a lot of cheats very similar to this. However, there were even clips of cheaters back then using cheats that allowed them to vault onto any player's position on the map and kill them instantly. And if cheaters wanted to make their accounts last longer and be a little less blatant, they could start using nearly undetectable recoil macros that allowed them to control a weapon's recoil in Siege while doing absolutely nothing. And since recoil was quite sporadic back then, this was a really popular cheat that were difficult to detect by the human eye. All of these forms of cheats, by the way, went undetected by BattlEye, which was meant to be actively monitoring games and banning players quickly, but obviously it was failing to do so, meaning that players would have to wait for Ubisoft to manually ban a lot of these blatant cheaters. And all of these new cheats and problems were happening within a 1 or 2 year range, which was causing the community to get more and more frustrated with the lack of barriers in place. Now, cheating wasn't nearly as widespread as it is today, and to be honest, nothing really compares to the state of the game today when it comes to cheating, but it was a huge problem at higher MMRs around this time, which is where most community members and content creators played, resulting in the problem being broadcasted to the entire world. Streamers were especially affected by this because cheaters would intentionally try to get into their games and go completely blatant. That was for a few reasons. The first was because it advertised their client to thousands of fans watching the streamer, and the second is because it obviously got a reaction out of the streamer, which cheaters desperately wanted. Now, around this time, which was the the late 2018, early 2019 timeframe, something else started to become a problem in the cheating world, and that was DDoSing. If you don't know what DDoSing is, it's basically when a cheater uses a ton of hacked computers to send illegal packets at a server to overwhelm it, causing it to become extremely slow or to even crash. This would be used by cheaters to stop them from losing when they were at a heavy scoring deficit by stopping the server from functioning, resulting in the game becoming null. Some would even go as far as to DDoS individual players' internet connections to kick the best players in the game out, allowing for matches to be much easier for them. Now, DDoSing is extremely illegal. It's a federal crime, in fact, and players had gotten to the point where they were willing to violate federal law to win some elo. At this time, I was a console player, more specifically on Xbox, and this problem was overwhelming on the console. This is because there was no way to get the cheats that PC players had on console, so many players chose to DDoS instead, and it resulted in the game basically becoming unplayable at higher ranks on console for a long time. This combined with the Zim issue, which was basically a third-party device that allowed console players to connect a keyboard and mouse into their game, made the issue of cheating on console almost just as bad. And the zimming issue specifically is still a problem on console today that Ubisoft has pretty much failed to fix. But Ubisoft were serious about the DDoSing issue, and they would start putting their foot down by implementing better DDoS protection and going as far as to sue people responsible for the DDoSing problem. This is the reason you don't see DDoSing as a huge problem today, but it was annoying at the time and definitely worth mentioning in this video. Anyways, now to go back to normal cheating on PC, they were still evolving. The release of Maverick came with a new cheat that allowed cheaters to shoot through reinforced walls. The way this cheat worked is by creating a Maverick hole everywhere a player shot, which combined with wall hacks allowed cheaters to shoot players through virtually any surface. It also allowed them to create breaches just by firing as well. This cheat was unique and unlike anything we had ever seen before, and Ubisoft would try to patch it multiple times, but it would keep coming up over the next few years off and on, until Ubisoft eventually got rid of it permanently. But the most blatant cheat that we had ever seen was introduced around this time as well, which I like to call the flying spin bot. This allowed a defender, as soon as the round started, to fly out of the top of the building and kill any attacker in their spawn, unless you got lucky enough to headshot the player before they killed everyone. And surprisingly, this one would last multiple years as well before getting finally patched. And to go along with it, another cheat that I called the Sledge Myers cheat was also implemented, allowing you to teleport to each player on the enemy team while invisible and melee them with your sledgehammer. This one was just as blatant as the last one I mentioned, but it was mainly used by cheaters who wanted to mess with the enemy team, and it was rarely used by serious blatant cheaters since the cheat took too long to win rounds. It was also patched pretty quickly from what I can tell, which is why there isn't a whole lot of footage of it online. The fact that these were even possible without being banned instantly just shows how poorly the current anti-cheat system was working. Ubisoft would make some huge improvements in Operation Burnt Horizon by implementing the MMR rollback system, which allowed players to get their elo back after a cheater was banned, and they would also start suing some of the bigger cheat manufacturers for Siege. But there was still a whole lot more left to be done to improve the cheating situation, and the cheat manufacturers were still far ahead of Ubisoft, bypassing pretty much any attempt they made to fight the cheating problem. Now, the next 2 years or so would become defining, because most of the cheats I'll be discussing from this point forward are what we are experiencing today or we have experienced in the recent past. And because of 2020 and 2021 being the years where the pandemic was at its peak, many more players started playing Siege, which meant there was more motivation and even more money on the table for potential cheat developers. Now, the first major cheat that came out around this time was the shotgun cheat, which allowed a shotgun to make destructive holes way bigger than what would normally be possible. This didn't just apply to shotguns though. It pretty much applied to any weapon with destructive capabilities like the Chonka's LMG and Kali Sniper. To go along with this, cheat clients also added a cheat that allowed Kali Sniper to be fired extremely fast, faster than most automatic weapons, which when combined with the previous cheat and a speed hack, it allowed them to just run around the map and instantly kill everyone. This Kali component of the cheat is still a thing today, and I've gone against it multiple times myself. Going against it is pretty much hopeless, but at least it's obvious so you can easily just dodge the match. Another cheat that really became prevalent around this time as well was the utility wall hacks. This allowed cheaters to see all defender gadgets through walls. Now, I'm sure you're wondering, why would a cheater need to see all the utility if they are focused on killing everyone? Well, the most common way to counter a wall hacker or blatant cheater at the time, before this cheat was released, was to use trap operators. Operators like Capcan and Legion were popular because they could potentially kill the cheater, and they would alert you to the cheater's location, allowing you to potentially pre-fire them. But the newly implemented utility wall hacks effectively shut this popular counter down, and it became a staple in pretty much any client at this point, which is why it's so hard to use utility against hackers nowadays. Now, you may think that shield operators must be the next best counter, right? Well, cheat clients developed a way to deal with shield operators as well. Cheaters can simply just shoot through your shield. Some clients will do this by just directly shooting through your shield. Some clients will have the bullets go around the shield player and shoot them in the back, and I've even seen some cheat clients allow cheaters to knife through a shield shield operator and kill the operator behind it, but those seem to be more rare. Either way, because cheat clients have gone on for longer and longer without being checked, these developers have now been able to create a cheat that counters effectively every strategy that deals with them. Also, cheaters could even start using shield operators against legit players. That is because around this time, a cheat that used to be a thing way back in the early days of the game started to become more prevalent. And that is a hack that allowed a cheater to play a shield operator and then shoot through their shield, allowing a mountain or class to stay fully extended, and in the case of a clash, she could slow down players while being able to shoot them. Clearly, cheaters didn't care about hiding their cheats anymore. A lot of this has to do with how easy it was for cheaters to get new accounts and how long it took for them to get banned. If you don't know, most cheaters get their accounts through services that allow them to buy hacked accounts in bulk, meaning that a lot of the time, cheaters aren't playing on their actual account. They are playing on another legit player's account and just hacking on it, resulting in that legit player getting banned. This gives them the benefit of getting an account with a longer history, which lowers suspicion amongst players, and it makes their stats look less suspicious. This combined with the fact that Ubisoft's anti-cheat can't even detect a player flying above the building killing everyone makes it really easy for cheaters to go full blatant without worrying. Speaking of Ubisoft's anti-cheat not detecting things it obviously should, a pretty recent new cheat that was added to the game was a hack that allowed the cheater to grab the diffuser as a defender and plant it in the bomb site and immediately disable it, winning the round instantly without the attack really being able to do anything about it. This hack also allowed the cheater on the attack to plant the bomb on the roof of the map, making it undefusable by the defense. This cheat has been patched by Ubisoft as of right now, to the best of my knowledge, but it could easily come back if cheat developers figure out a way to bypass that patch. And obviously this is an extremely problematic cheat because it allows a hacker to basically guarantee they win a round without having to boost up their stats, which means if they just use the diffuser cheat, they can avoid being stat banned. However, the most infamous and iconic cheat that I can think of in recent memory is the ban wave cheat. This cheat allowed cheaters to inject code into a player's system anytime a ban wave was played on screen. This started off as a funny exploit that a cheater would use to display an image of a chicken onto content creators' screens during a match, resulting in clips being created and shared across the internet. But it very quickly became a serious issue because cheaters very quickly started displaying nude and violent images onto player screens, and in extreme cases they would use this exploit to run code remotely and get access to a player's system, allowing them to inject malware or other malicious software. This is by far the most extreme exploit Siege has ever seen, and luckily Ubisoft reacted quickly by removing the ban wave messages until the exploit was fixed. But it still doesn't excuse the negligence on Ubisoft's part required to allow something this extreme to exist in the first place. And that leads us to today, where cheaters use a combination of a lot of the hacks I've mentioned throughout this video to ruin the fun of players who want to play the game legitimately. Ubisoft has attempted to make steps against this problem. They released a QB anti-cheat, which was completely proprietary and was made in an attempt to make it more costly for cheat developers to update their cheats and keep them running, which Ubisoft hoped would raise prices, resulting in less players willing to cheat. But cheat developers bypassed this new system before it was even released, due to it being leaked early, and it didn't have any effect on the price of cheats from what I've been able to gather. Now, Ubisoft is wanting to improve their stat banning systems that are in place to hopefully make blatant cheaters less prevalent, but it still doesn't change the facts of the modern day, and that is the fact that cheaters have now assimilated into every skill level of the game's population. No longer is the days of cheating being an issue for champions and diamonds to deal with. It's now something that everyone will have to deal with constantly, and it isn't even an exclusive issue to the ranked playlist like many people think. They have pretty much infiltrated every aspect of the game, making it insufferable. It's so bad that I get cheaters pretty much every other game, and I have to avoid playing ranked and just play custom games to get normal matches. And the worst part is, when you do get cheaters, there is a high probability that there are multiple in your game. And since Ubisoft is failing to counter cheaters as well, they're now becoming more ballsy, willing to go full blatant more often. Now, I have no idea what the solution is. I'm not going to pretend that I'm a game developer, and I can't begin to imagine the effort that goes into this fight. But the simple reality is, whatever Ubisoft is doing isn't working. Hopefully their roadmap is accurate and they can develop some sort of solution quickly, because the situation is out of hand, and it's ruining the game for all the players who have started to come back to it. This is make or break for Ubisoft. If the situation continues the way it is, the game will likely die due to the sheer amount of cheaters present. But if Ubisoft can find a way to get ahead of these developers and counter their cheats proactively, Siege will almost definitely flourish. It's going to be a tough task because many other games are dealing with the same issue, but I hope that Ubisoft can do something about it, because I love this game, I'm super passionate about it, and this is an extremely important thing for Ubisoft to get right. Anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. I've been playing Siege for nearly 8 years of my life, and it's something I'm very passionate about. Seeing the game in the current state it is today frustrates me, and it's what inspired me to make this video in the first place. Also, thank you Janik Hansen for the video idea. I appreciate it. Make sure to show some love to the creators whose videos I use for background footage, because I couldn't have made this video without them. Now, if you enjoyed today's video, I make Siege content just like this twice a week, so go subscribe to the channel and follow me on Twitter if you don't want to miss the next upload. If you want to watch another video just like this one, a video will be popping up on your screen right now that I'm sure you all enjoy. I wish you guys luck on your next games, and I'll see you next time, friends. Peace.